Tonight on NewsWatch, surveillance society. Why some in America are worried about the future of their privacy. Plus, after years of praying for their return, they're finally heading home. More on the amazing story of the 3 women held captive in Ohio. And see how people in America's poorest city are trying to turn their town around. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Martin. Surveillance cameras have been effective in fighting crime, including identifying kidnapping suspects and their victims. And we all saw how they were used to identify and stop the 2 suspects in the Boston bombings. But those cameras have also renewed the fear America could turn into a surveillance society. As John Jessup reports in tonight's top story, many American people are worried about their privacy.
After cameras captured the chaotic scene at the Boston Marathon finish line, the city's police chief said he wants more cameras to help law enforcement keep watch on possible high-value target areas downtown. A collection of video feeds, both public and private, and even cell phone images, help police identify their suspects. Now, other cities, in an attempt to prevent possible attacks, may want to follow suit. But privacy advocates caution against a rush to set up more cameras in cities across the country.
Preventing crimes is not something that camera systems have shown to be particularly useful for.
Mark Rotenberg directs EPIC, a privacy research group in downtown Washington. His organization keeps a watchful eye on those who are monitoring D.C.'s vast network of cameras. While Rotenberg believes the technology can be useful, he says it's also limited.
You look at study after study, and the lesson that you take away is that cameras can be helpful after the fact, but they rarely prevent crimes, and they certainly didn't in Boston.
Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert has other concerns.
Technology is a fantastic instrument to fight crime, but the danger is that everyone gets monitored all the time.
He's worried the expansion of surveillance could lead to government overreach, with Big Brother capable of knowing what virtually everyone's been doing.
We're close to that now. They have the capability of going on and finding out what you've purchased or what websites you go to, what emails you send.
It's an even greater concern with the use of unmanned drones flying over U.S. airspace.
Drone surveillance raises issues that are similar to the camera surveillance in cities. This is another useful technology. It has public benefit, but this should not become a type of surveillance of all activity that people engage in. That would be going too far.
The advent of newer technologies will continue to spark concerns about privacy. And in a post-9/11 world, the trade-off between feeling secure and maintaining one's privacy will be debated for years to come. John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.
Cybersecurity is at the forefront of new legislation in the Senate. The bill moves to crack down on cyber espionage and the theft of data from American companies. It's called the Defer Cyber Theft Act. Its introduction came ahead of a Senate hearing today on how law enforcement responds to cyber attacks. The FBI says it's becoming increasingly important for law enforcement to combat attacks in cyberspace. Just this week, the Pentagon released a report to Congress accusing the Chinese government of cyber spying against the U.S. Emotional testimony on Capitol Hill today as Republican lawmakers seek answers on what happened during last year's deadly attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya.
The committee's labors to uncover what happened prior, during, and after the attack matter. It matters to me personally, and it matters to my colleagues, to my colleagues at the Department of State. It matters to the American public for whom we serve.
It does. Well, 3 key witnesses say terrorism was suspected from the beginning, something the Obama administration denied after the attacks. Representative Darrell Issa is the chairman of the Oversight Committee behind today's hearing. He says today's testimony shows what really happened before, during, and after the Benghazi attacks. And for more on the Benghazi attack, we turn now to Jordan Seculow of the American Center for Law and Justice. Jordan, Senator Lindsey Graham said yesterday that the dam is about to break on Benghazi as the whistleblowers testify. Do you agree?
I do agree, because I think the American people, members of the State Department, these are bureaucrats, people who have spent their entire careers, most of their professional life, serving the U.S. government in that State Department role. And sometimes we're pretty critical of those who serve in those bureaucratic roles. And you've got that distinction between the military service and the bureaucratic service. And here you have those people willing to step forward, putting their careers on the line because either they're friends or they just with a good conscience. And then you had Jay Carney, the White House press secretary, who has never quite recovered when talking about this issue from saying that this was basically old news. And we're talking, September 11, 2012, a cover-up that was admitted to in some sense by the Obama administration. Susan Rice did not move on in her career to become Secretary of State or be nominated for that. And we're told that those talking points were wrong and inaccurate. And today, more of the same. You had a congressman assert, I think, arguing the administration's position that any aircraft would be 9 to 12 hours away. And you have the deputy head of our mission to Libya, who was the number 2 when Ambassador Stevens was alive, number 1 when he was killed, say he was told it was 2 to 3 hours, but the defense attaché from the Department of Defense was told to stand down. The American people do care. We've heard from over 75,000 of our members in 48 hours.
Well, let's talk about Greg Hicks, the number 2 diplomat in Libya. He says that he pleaded for military intervention, but it was denied. How can the administration possibly dig out from under that allegation?
Well, they're going to have to at least be honest. It's so interesting with each of these situations. If people would tell the truth, people make bad decisions. Everyone is not perfect. This was a decision that had to be made quickly. But yet what we see is a calculated, it seems like, a chain of events that led to not only bad decisions, but also a cover-up. And who was responsible for that narrative, which I believe, and I think a lot of American people do, and so do those testifying, that it was to stay away from the word terrorism, to stay away from al-Qaeda, which we know was edited out of Ambassador Rice's talking points. And it was, of course, a couple of months before the general election. So to stay away from terrorism. And now we're hearing that, we had assets, the assets weren't allowed to go. This forces, I believe, the administration to at least answer that charge.
Okay.
Is your timeline right, or is this is your employee's timeline right? The top-ranking official at the time Ambassador Stevens was killed. That deserves a response. And the American people can respect, I believe, the administration saying they messed up.
All right.
But they're not going to respect this cover-up.
All right. Thank you so much, Jordan Seculow with the ACLJ, for your insights.
Thank you.
A victory for religious freedom. A judge ruled today that cheerleaders from a Southeast Texas high school can continue to display Bible verses on the run through banners at football games. Last fall, an atheist group filed a complaint with the superintendent and said the scriptures should not be allowed. But the cheerleaders argued that was a violation of their free speech and filed a lawsuit. Today, the judge ruled that cheerleaders have the right to display their faith. And tomorrow on NewsWatch, we'll talk to those cheerleaders about the ruling. Make sure you tune in for that. Delaware is the 11th state to legalize same-sex marriage. Governor Jack Markle signed the measure shortly after the state Senate approved it late Tuesday. Under the law, clerics do not have to perform same-sex marriages if it goes against their beliefs. But business owners who refuse to provide services to homosexual couples based on their religious convictions could be sued. That's because an existing law bans discrimination based on sexual orientation. Some are calling it political redemption for former South Carolina Governor Mark Sanford. The Republican is heading to Congress after his political career was sidelined 4 years ago by scandal. Sanford won back his old congressional seat in a special election Tuesday. He left politics in 2009 after admitting to traveling to Argentina to visit his mistress, a woman he's now engaged to. He paid a $70,000 ethics fine for using public money for the trip, and his wife Jenny divorced him. Sanford says South Carolina voters extended him human grace that was a reflection of God's grace. They never stopped praying for her return. That's what the aunt of Amanda Berry says. Amanda is one of 3 Cleveland women abducted 10 years ago. Her family's prayers were answered when Amanda came home today. Dale Hurd has the story.
Police continued to gather evidence from the home on Seymour Avenue where the 3 young women and a 6-year-old girl were held against their will. Among the items taken, the kicked-in door Amanda Berry escaped through.
They're in the process of doing the interviews with the victims, the interviews with the suspects.
Those suspects are Ariel Castro, the 52-year-old owner of the home, and his brothers O'Neill and Pedro. The 3 men were expected to be charged today. Authorities also revealed that the women were physically restrained in Castro's basement, which was reportedly sealed off by a padlocked door. Today, Amanda returned to her sister's house and her sister spoke to the media.
Our family would request privacy so my sister and niece and I can have time to recover. We appreciate all you have done for us throughout the past 10 years. Please respect our privacy until we are ready to make our statement.
At the same time, a growing celebration of 3 lives saved. Flowers, balloons, and banners welcomed the women home after a decade away. Missing the longest, Michelle Knight, seen here in her high school yearbook. The family of Amanda Berry, who bravely called 911, is in disbelief as well. For the first time, meeting her 6-year-old daughter Jocelyn, seen here on the right. But missing from the picture, Amanda's mom, who passed away in 2006.
What hurts me the most is Mandy doesn't get to see her mom. Her mom's gone.
Also found Gina DeJesus, who vanished on her way home from middle school. Investigators are now asking how 3 women could be hidden seemingly in plain sight and how they survived. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Coming up, we'll look at the measures some take to lose weight.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Welcome back. New Jersey Governor Christie is getting a lot of attention after announcing a secret surgery to lose weight. Christie says he underwent gastric band surgery for his health, not political reasons.
For my long-term health, this isn't like to feel better tomorrow.
The New Jersey governor says he wants to make sure he's there for his family. But Christie is considered to be a contender for the GOP nomination for president in 2016. And losing a significant amount of weight can only work in his favor. Christie's aides say he's lost 30 pounds since the operation. Doctors say he could lose up to 75. Joining us now is Dr. Linda Mental. She's a family therapist and the co-author of best-selling book, Lose It for Life. Linda, are weight loss surgeries just a quick fix to a bigger problem?
We've been doing this kind of surgery for years, and what we're finding is it's not just the average person walking into the surgeon's office saying, hey, I need to lose weight. it really is reserved for people that have very serious, what we call morbid obesity, or even what we call obesity that is refractory, which means that it hasn't responded well to any other treatments. And if the person really doesn't do something about that obesity, there is a real risk that that person could suffer some pretty serious medical conditions, including the possibility of early death.
Talk a little bit about why people choose to have them done.
It really is a person who is morbidly obese, which means that their BMI is around above 30, but typically 40, which is very high, a very high BMI, body mass index. And that's one of the indicators that you have to have. Plus, the person is suffering from a lot of medical conditions related to that obesity.
Well, as you know, America is facing an obesity epidemic. You've done research on this. How can we overcome it?
The problem of obesity in our country is going to be a little bit like addressing the problem of smoking. It took about 40 years. I know that sounds like a very long time, but you have to create public awareness. You have to get people into prevention strategies. You need to help people understand what healthy eating is all about, learning how to read food labels, to know how to make choices. You have to, in our culture, help people deal with the triggers that cause them to overeat, which is sometimes just the abundance, the busyness of people's schedules, the stress that people are under. A lot of people eat because they have stress, and they go to food as a way of coping with that stress. And then I think that big thing also is that we have to learn to develop a healthy relationship with food and not just eat out of boredom or tiredness or depression or even happiness for that matter. So it's going to take a lot of people, including the people like the First Lady who has said we got to get up and move. And there is so much truth to that. We've got to get more exercise into our lifestyles. And really, this is all a matter of making lifestyle changes, which is not easy for Americans to do, but it is possible.
That's right. It definitely is. Well, Dr. Linda Mental, thanks again for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Up next, we'll look at plans to rebuild the country's most violent city.
My feet hurt, your feet hurt. White hot pain, I wanna cry. Is there anything I can try?
Why, yes! Introducing Strut Soul Angels, the human shock absorber that helps alleviate foot pain.
The first 10 steps in the morning to the bathroom were excruciating. Within 3 days after I put Struts on, it's been such a relief.
Slipped it on and almost immediately I felt a support, kind of like a pillow underneath my arches.
The Struts Soul Angel provides a great amount of relief and support throughout the course of the day, providing shock absorption and relief of pain.
On your feet without proper support can be painful. Strut Soul Angels promotes better balance, control, and body alignment. Standing in your heels all day is painful, but slip on Struts and you'll enjoy comfort and support 24/7. Struts is so versatile, you'll wear them in every shoe you own, even barefoot.
I'm on my feet all the time. I teach 11 and 12-year-olds. The pain was so much that I knew I had to do something. And with the Struts, I can do my job and enjoy my job.
I usually am on my feet from 8 to 12 hours a day. When I wear my Struts, it's like giving my feet a hug all day.
It's life-changing. I wear them from the minute I get up to the minute I go to bed.
Why pay $400 for custom orthotics?
Now get Strut Soul Angels for just $10. You also get Miracle Foot Repair Cream, absolutely free. Use it to help relieve dry, calloused feet overnight. But wait, call right now and we'll double the offer free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Plus, you get a 100% money-back guarantee. If not completely delighted, send it back. But keep the foot cream as our gift just for trying. You get it all. A $70 value for just $10.
Oh, yes! Love my Struts, love my Struts. The best thing since sliced bread. They heal pain from toes to head. Get yours now, your doctor said.
Struts. Be nice to your feet. Call now.
Call 1-800-787-1580 and get your Struts and Miracle Foot Repair for just $10 and we'll double the offer. That's 1-800-787-1580 or visit getstruts.com.
Chicago is considered the deadliest city in America, but the most violent is Camden, New Jersey. Camden is also the poorest city in the country, but now some longtime residents are trying to turn their town around. Ephraim Graham reports.
I've never found Camden to be a bad place.
Tina Scott designs clothes. She began with bridal gowns, then pioneered custom design robes for women preachers. Her garments now ship to Germany, Japan, the Caribbean, and across the United States.
Mind you, I flunked sewing in school. in high school. I had to make a purple pleated skirt and I couldn't do it, and I got a failing grade for sewing.
The seamstress and single mom has spent her life beating the odds. A perfect example came when she chose this neighborhood to start her business.
I don't know if I can describe it to you. I can reach the picture if you want me to show it to you.
Take a look. The old pictures look like they came from a war zone. Her shop, a mere shell of a building with no roof and no other businesses nearby.
It was just looking through the eyes of faith that made me know that this felt like it was what God was leading me to.
Today, Camden's revitalized historic district captures Tina's vision and more, but it's still a work in progress that doesn't stretch far enough.
Once you leave from this area, which is a lot of new buildings and a lot of new construction, and go 2 or 3 streets over, it looks like you're in a totally different place.
We visited those places.
Camden is a small city, really. It's 9 square miles.
With Michael De Leon, the New Jersey filmmaker spent 3 years shooting a documentary about the city.
There's 70,000 that they say people in Camden, and it's just so small. But no matter where you drive around the city, it's just such devastation and poverty and crime and drugs.
Camden sits in the shadow of historic Philadelphia, a thriving city just across the Delaware River. But Camden's reality is not nearly as bright. More than 42% of its population lives below the poverty level, and less than 50% of its students finish high school. At one time, Camden was a thriving factory town, home to Campbell's Soup and RCA. The race riots of 1969 and 71 left the city in ruins, and those who could afford to leave did. That was followed by years of political corruption.
What was troubling me so much about what was happening in Camden and other urban cities in New Jersey is the amount of kids that were dying due to drug overdoses and due to violence and gang violence.
As a former gang member, drug addict, and prisoner, De Leon knows his subject.
I got a member of my family killed, and it didn't stop my drug addiction, it didn't stop my gang involvement. And I was present in a room when one of my friends, a gang member, shot and killed my best friend. And I went to prison for aggravated manslaughter.
After serving 10 years, he chose to dedicate his life to help children make better choices with theirs.
There's nothing wrong with this city that can't be fixed by what's right with this city. And this city is full of people who serve God, who live the life that they're supposed to live, and they influence in a positive way other people.
De Leon introduced us to one of those people. Tawanda Jones turns a city water tower into a dance hall 5 days a week. This is Camden's Sophisticated Sisters Drill Team, a dance troupe Jones started when she was only 15. She was inspired by her grandfather, who bought the team its first round of uniforms and drums 26 years ago.
My grandfather sees the great in everyone. And everyone. And what he just constantly just fed to me that, you know, there's not enough people that care. You have to be one of those people.
Tawanda's girls know she cares from the moment they meet.
I just met Miss Wawa only 4 months ago, and she's like a second mom. She wants so much for me, and I just can't believe how much she wants for me and how much she wants me to succeed in life, and that surprised me, you know? And I'm just so happy. I love her so much. I can't even say it enough.
When they're in that water tower, their whole expression, everything changes. Everything changes. They really leave a lot at the door, and they dance that pain away.
Take Dejanay Green, who lost her father when she was only 3.
He was riding down the street, and a drunk driver hit him, and he was on a motorcycle, and he flipped a mile or 2, I think, and he broke all his bones and died.
Even so, Dejanay is still a daddy's girl, and she thought of him when she performed on ABC's Dancing with the Stars. That's the troupe's latest honor. But Ms. Wawa says the bigger prize is her graduation rate.
We never had a dropout. We have never had a dropout. Why? God. I can't possibly take credit for none of this. You know, it's definitely all God.
Worth the price we have to pay. Everybody strong, come on. There's a dream.
What others see as Camden, you know, I really can't speak for them, you know, but this is my city and I love it.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Camden, New Jersey.
Wow, what a legacy that lady has. Well, up next, why one teacher is using a fashion statement to fight bullying.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
A New York teacher is using her clothes to take a stand against bullying. Faith Perry is pledging to wear the same outfit every day for an entire year. Let's hope she washes it every night. Well, she says she got the idea after a low-income student in her class was picked on for wearing the same jeans several days in a row.
Their self-esteem. So, and it's not important what they look like or what they wear.
Amen. Well, Perry says being a teacher doesn't make her immune to negative comments. Several students have made fun of her, but she hopes her fashion statement will help them see that it's not what's on the outside that counts. Perry's anti-bullying campaign has caught the attention of other school administrators. A principal at another local school pledges she's going to wear the same outfit every day, too. Well, good for them. Way to take a stand like that. That's all for this edition of NewsWatch. Remember, you can email us your comments and questions at newswatch@cbn.com. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great evening.